All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog here. Starting off our matchup between OBOY and SOMA. Going to be seeing Volga out on the nurse here. And I feel like with the cold tower, you would always like to get things started off early. We talked about how it's a smaller map and how that could benefit the killer, but sometimes overlooked is how the smaller map can also often benefit the survivors as well. So you would like to get that pressure started a little bit early. Moving across the front of our main building, there's a firecracker, decides not to do the second blink, and we're kind of on the top side of our map where we've got our corrupt at. We do want to also make sure we're putting pressure on these gens while we still have some benefit of our ruin.
And this is going to be the first chase here at this TNL, going to be the hit onto hitboxes. Volga now going to go for a one blink here, needs to go into fatigue because our survivor did a good job breaking line of sight. And now we do see the cross towards the generators. You do want the most value from the Hex Ruin here, interrupting the generators and forcing the regression. Edge map Andy is going to waste some time from Volga here behind this rock. This is going to be attack onto Lori, that's going to be Daimao, and our survivor running into the corrupt area. So, oh boy, with a good start here, because we are 90 seconds into the trial, and looking on the overall result, it's just one down so far.
Yeah, you've got only one down. You've already got the ruin cleansed as well. We're going to be seeing our survivors do look like they're starting to split up amongst the gens. We had one around that 75% marker here. Got another one around the 25, just worth mentioning here. It does look like we're going to be trying to rotate this survivor a little bit closer, more middle map. Hopefully maybe being able to rotate and find wherever these survivors happen to be from here. This generator has a decent amount of regression with that kick, though. You're going to notice no pop goes the weasel right now, only going to be relying on that slowdown from that thanatophobia, which is only 5%, so really needs us to get the process going of like collecting up these hooks.
Yeah, I also like how Volga is staying in the mid-map here, kinda keeping an eye on the generators around him, trying to find the rescuer rotating over. That's not going to happen so far. We do see the generators being attacked there on the bottom side. We do see the casual Cold Tower 3 gen on the top, so this is going to be an interesting move here by Volga. You do camp into second stage, it seems like. You do have made yourself some time. So now Volga forced to make a decision between Mac and the hook, and he is actually going back. So confidently camping into the second stage here for the price of potentially 2 generators. I do think that's an okay trade here.
Yeah, I think you're okay with that. I mean, the only thing you do want to be careful is you want to make sure that you truly make sure to completely punish the camp here, right? Like you want to make sure that you're getting maximum value. We saw earlier today even how sometimes if you happen to allow, even let's say if we were to see the elimination progress here, you need to make sure that you're getting gens. I mean, also worth noting, we know that at some point here, Volga is going to have the option to put up that Pentimento, which does slow the game down even more than what we can get from the Thanatophobia. And with somebody already being potentially able to be removed from the game, this is going to be tough.
Yeah, this is really, really tough here. This is now Lori also. Oh, welcome to the basement party. This is unfortunately for Volga. Very, very nice use of the Shack pallet there. Forcing the killer into the basement. This is now going to cost a lot of time here, and that actually really hurts Soma here.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. I mean, we do see now, especially working our way back over. I think now at this point, maybe considering throwing up this Pentimento, but instead we see the scratch marks, finding that that is going to be our priority, trying to move around. That's going to be a swing and a miss. And of course, with that being after the second blink does cause a little bit longer of a fatigue. Should allow for our Nancy here to be able to build a little bit of extra distance. Now actually moving back towards the same way, which leads me to believe that maybe, just maybe our survivors are trying to attack that 3 gen on the top side of the map.
Yeah, they at some point you are going. Ooh, now we have to wait here on the lock. Good timing and forcing the grab out of it. So this is going to be Nico going onto the shoulder of Volga. So this is going to be hook stage number 3. We also see the reset coming in across the way. 50% on this generator here. Oh boy, still making a very organized impression here. They are splitting up on the map here on the generators with the resets as well. It is going to be Pentimento coming through together with the Thanatophobia, especially when another survivor is taking attack. It could slowly become tricky, but what I see from OBOY so far makes a very confident impression.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that we do have to worry about, of course, yeah, I was going to say is that someone's right in the shadows over there. They'll be able to get that save relatively quickly. And now that does mean that our nurse is kind of stuck in a situation. Yeah, if we have 2 other survivors, like the Ace and the Lori, sitting on gens up on the top side of the map, they are slowed down by the 30%, plus that additional 10% from the Thanatophobia. But at the same time, they're undisturbed. They can just simply continue to sit there, hitting, holding M1, hitting some skill checks while we have downs going on across the map, and you're at least completing your objective.
Yeah, Obi doing a good job here, running into the corner of the map as well. This is going to be at least one generator being completed. We can see another one on the top side there. So they are splitting out here. Volga is traveling cross map, so it is this time not going to be the camp into the second stage. But this is Hitboxes taking attack, actually not getting the generator done. It's going to be a dry kick, so that still costs some additional seconds here, especially with Pentimento and Thanatophobia slowing down the repair progress. And once again, Volga holding the mid section of the map, keeping an eye on the generators and about the rescuers that are potentially trying to rotate over here. So I really like Volga's strategy here as well. I do feel like both teams here play a really good match, and they both have amazing ideas. It really comes down to the question who's making 1 or 2 next mistakes.
Yeah, and this is gonna be, I mean, this is kind of what you expect to see when it comes to the nurse on Cold Tower, right? It's both sides have everything at their disposal. The survivors have everything that you need. You don't really have any restrictions. We're gonna be seeing a 3rd gen popping across the way. I'm wondering, what's the corner up here from Obi? What's the strategy? Are we possibly buying someone else enough time to be able to attack that? I was thinking maybe attack that Pentimento, but we do see actually over here working on that gen. Oh no, we do actually, I think, have somebody crouched. Oh no, it's not on the Pentimento. We're still actually allowing that 30% slowdown to still be in play. I think this could be a tough mistake.
Yeah, this is going to be rough, and this is now, especially in a nurse game on Cold Tower, it comes down to every single one, right? This is going to be a sprint burst by Nico, getting out of the area here, not taking a hit, now being forced to play this TNL. This is going to be tough, and it does result in a hit. The question is going to be, is Volga just dropping chase, going back, and he does, trying to interrupt a potential rescuer, could potentially end into forcing Obi into the elimination, and then you are facing the 3v1, but the generator split is going to be rough here. So OBOY with a good chance to make it into endgame.
Yeah, this is, oh man, we're talking about things are already getting close. This timer though, you'll notice is getting relatively close as far as for our eliminations. So our survivors are going to be forced. I don't know if maybe, yeah, as I say, maybe forced and doubled up onto a gen. We're going to be seeing Volga now double checking up on this generator up on the top side. We found one survivor. That is going to be Daimao at this point, located here up by main. But of course, if Daimao's up here, that does allow for both hitboxes as well as Nico to possibly be attacking the gens, maybe even paired up across the way on the shack side.
This is now going to be the Pentimento leaving the trial with his 50% over here. Someone going on main as well, 20%. So the pressure is rising and rising. But this hook here in front of main building is going to be huge, because just one blink into main and only 2 survivors remaining. Nico taking a quick hit here. So this chase is important, because Ace is sitting on a generator potentially. Nico running and not taking a hit. The flashlight coming in as well. Every single second now really making the difference here.
Yeah, and I mean, now we see the corner up. I think we understand that we might have a generator across the way. We do see that Volga's going for the slug. We saw, though, there is a lot of progress on that generator. That things are rocking just about a pop. And there it is, though. That's going to be generator number 5 getting done. That's a big points here, right? Because that does mean now it will put at least a little bit of pressure once we do see our other killer come out here. Also, going to be seeing the pickup across the way. That means now instead of having a slug and potentially putting our last survivor down on the ground, now you have to worry about split doors.
And this is now going to be either a very, very impressive end game by Volga with a 2-man slug, but it could also end in a 4K here, so or in a 2-man out instead of the 4K. So going to be the interesting question: who is playing this safe, and are the survivors getting located? They do get located here at the door, running towards the bottom side. So if this survivor manages to stay alive for a little bit longer, someone can hop onto the door at 11 there, and we do see the rotation from Volga coming in once again. Now it comes down to an absolute perfect coordination between the 2 remaining survivors here, and I really think this end game is going to become really intense. Blink back towards the shack and getting stuck in the hill, that could be huge.
Yeah, this is going to be big. I mean, we have yet to see our doors open. Remember, keeping in mind, we've got 2 survivors that are both injured, so it'd be very easy to come over here, get the down onto Nico, and then be able to locate our Ace. We see, though, Ace has this door just about ready to go. I don't think you're going to be able to get there in time. We are going to see, though, forces the nurse to wants home, but we see Nico crawling over for the door. I think Ace is going to try and buy as much time as possible to potentially be forcing the hatch play. Volga understands that, is doubling back over here. Unfortunately, Unbreakable already been used. We see, though, crawling towards the hatch. There's going to be a cooldown here. We got 1. Now you got your cooldown back, but they're over there looking for the is at the hatch. No way. Oh my goodness.
Oh god.
Wow.
This is... I'm not ready for... We just had the last second trauma decision from the class. I'm not ready for this. Calm down, everyone. This, you can't do it. But man, we said it could flip into a 4K. It could flip into a 2-out. But these were the 2 extreme possibilities. And they actually pulled that off. That is insane. That is going to be Soma taking 17 points here. But oh boy, 13 points with 3 stages out of the door. That's a huge result for a nurse on Cold Tower.
Yeah, 17-15 it actually looks like now. We've got an adjustment in the background, but still, yeah, you do. Oh man, that was intense talking about. I mean, you're able to minimize the difference there, and you talked about we just had such a tight matchup, even though it was a 2-0. It was tighter than the 2-0 showed. Now starting off our matchup here of Oh Boy and Soma this way. This is going to be crazy. So now we're going to have to see how our 2 teams do respond, right? Not only the survivors coming out, but also our nurse here coming out. And we're going to be bringing trial number 2 to you guys after a very quick break.
And we are back with the second. Oh, hello! Wow. I can't even get my intro done, and we already have an injury here. Hitboxes, calm down in the corner of this map here. What is this? 7-8 seconds into the trial. This is amazing.
Yeah, this is the start that you were wanting to have coming out here on the killer side, especially after, you know, having the momentum on the survivor side, right? Being able to get the 2 out, so being able to come out here and start things this way, definitely what you're looking for. You will notice a little bit of a weird flicker up. Might be able to see hitboxes take advantage of that, especially because you already have the quick down, plus you've got the ruin, and it's only 45 seconds into this trial.
Yeah, the hitboxes just with an amazing start here. Legioner on the hook there. We do have the Hex Ruin still as well, so the pressure is even increasing now where you can push the survivors away from the generators, getting the regression in, and he is forced to go for prediction, does get it onto Terrifier here. So we have 2 injured survivor in the trial here, and this is a beautiful one onto the Fang here. So quick down onto Terrify, going back onto the hook here, hook stage number 2, and we do see a generator at Shack being doubled with 50%. That also means that the efficiency on the generators is quite low.
Yeah, this is going to be tough here. I mean, we're going to be seeing you've also the 2 hooks you've gotten are fresh. So you talk about those collective points all the way across the board in case someone does happen to escape, kind of like we saw in the last trial, right? So already starting to make sure you're minimizing the amount of points they can leave the door. We do see, though, able to find our injured tap here is going to be hitbox. It's not going to be able to find a connection here. Is going to be using the flashlight. Nice job to be able to at least use a line of sight blocker to be able to get the down. That was beautiful.
Really beautiful here. Hitbox is playing this really well so far. They do get the generator at the shack, but for an exchange of 3 hook stages so far. 1 survivor started a generator, 1 survivor is coming over here. This is going to be Hitboxes just barely coming too late, and there's going to be a chase onto the shack here. That's not far away from the hook though, so they need to be careful here. And yeah, holding W away from the shack is definitely the play to make.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, the only thing we've got to worry about as far as for SOMA, you will notice, looking on that bottom left-hand corner, we see 3 injured survivors here. So the potential for as far as snowball, especially with, you know, a killer like the Nurse. I mean, you understand, trying to get a little bit out of nothing back here. I think that was an unfortunate dead hard, if I'm not mistaken, into the wall, which now does not allow the separation to avoid that hit. So that is going to be a down over on this side of the map here. That is going to be fresh hook number 3, hook state number 4 altogether.
Yeah, this is a really good. Ooh, barely missing the Adam here. So it seems like SOMA fighting back now here in the mid game. They have 2 generators done. They are not handing out a hit here. So if Legionnaire and Terrifier potentially could go for a reset and bring back 3 survivors into the trial here, that would be huge. But now it's going to be Swatter taking a hit. So everyone injured, and this quick down, this might really put SOMA into struggle, because Hitbox is also opting to go for the slug here. So the pressure rising, and he now has access to the choke point here in the mid part, so he can control who's moving to the bottom side in order to take the rescue. And even worse, Hex Ruin still up, and that actually is, they're ignoring it because they realize how important the gem pressure is.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. I mean, we did see there as we were looking at Squatter, that's going to be the Unbreakable coming into play. And even though that is an unfortunate Unbreakable use, as it does look like that should prevent the second stage from progressing onto Milston across the way, that is one of your second chance perks, though, now off of the table, right? And seeing as we are still sitting at only 2 gems complete, seeing hook state number 5 altogether, plus now seeing the 3v1, definitely got to be feeling good about where you're at here as far as this trial, though. Hitboxes now to be moving back into this corner. Does find a Thang. What a Plague with the blink to be able to get the down over here. Thang, you were next to the ruin. What are we doing?
Yeah, she is next to the ruin here, so it is going to be a very nice hook here for Hitboxes. He is able to monitor the Hex Totem, and he will have the pressure rising, and he does try to find another survivor here. Not going to be successful with that. Blinking back towards the hook, expecting Rescuer to rotate over, and he does manage to do so with a perfect timing here.
Yeah, and this is man, this is tough. You gotta, I mean, you understand where SOMA's at, right? Like, wanting to grind through these gens, you want to make sure that you get those points necessary here. But man, when you talk about, I don't know, this is tough. You're in the 3v1, 6 stages all together here. Ruins still being, I mean, at least you do know where the ruin's at. That's a benefit. You're sitting next to, somebody cleanse that thing, please. Oh, this is awful.
Yeah, the fact that they are not cleansing this hex is kind of ruining my experience here. But this is going to be Adam with a very nice double back, and this should now be enough time, right? I mean, you need to remove this hex totem. Let's speak it out. You need to remove it. And the fact that SOMA is not getting that done is a misplay here. They are allowing Hitboxes to take the indirect pressure from just forcing them away. Now they do crank out the generator here on the mid part. Yeah, that's 2 additional points here, but if you want to really aim for a good result, you will be forced to get this 3-gen at the top side out of the way, and that's not going to happen when you have the Hex Ruin still in the trial. So Terrifier going on a hook, being eliminated, 2 survivors standing in the trial here. At this point, it is purely getting 2 more points. Maybe that's the idea behind keeping Hex Ruin.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I understand, right? Like, it takes plenty of time to cleanse the ruin, but at the same time, you're coming over here and putting this time into a gen that's going to be regressing at 200, let's all say it together, 200%. Whenever they get pushed off the gen, right? Whereas at least if you take the 16 seconds to cleanse the totem, you stop the regression. We're going to be seeing the slug here. Nice dead hard, unfortunately running into a box. They're not going to be able to build the biggest of distance here. But at this point, Hitboxes just has to wrap up the slugs. And I'm not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in, chat, but that does indeed look like a 4K to me.
This does look like a 4K, and it looks like an impressive, dominant, and putting the pressure down 4K to me. Wow. This is my analyze queue. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, it's and talk about to be able to come out here. I mean, you're setting the tone, right? Like, you start off here, you want to get things going, to be able to do this in this set here, taking the set 43 to 21 here. That's huge. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is, I mean, oh, wait
a minute.
Wait. Oh, wait. Hitboxes. Okay, he does get the down now. But yeah, you mentioned, right? So the win condition, 4K on 4 gens. Tie, I think, I mean, tie condition 3 gens up. You need a perfect game.
Well, no, this was the second game, right?
Oh, I'm tripping. Q. I'm so I see Will sending the question marks in the staff chat. Yeah, I'm so hitboxes impressed me so much here that I even forgot that we already played trial number 1. So yeah, absolutely, it's going to be a 45 to 19. This is just insane. And now is the question. I mean, Q, you're on my favorite topic and potentially the most realistic topic since we are in esports, is momentum and mindset. Yep. So this was set 1 was a disaster for SOMA. Hardly spoken, it was a disaster. How do you move into the Plague?
Well, I think the big thing you have to do is you just, I say it like it's so easy, but it's a fresh game. Set 1's done. You need to come out here. It's a best of 2, but you need to win the first. And that's just the way you do it. Because if you start thinking too much of that last trial, then if you happen to have an early mistake in trial number 3 here, the first set of set number 2, it's so easy to then fall in that mindset of, well, here we go again, right? Whereas if you're just like, it's fine, this is let's just grind it out. We'll get what we need in this trial. We'll, count on our killer in the end game. That's, I think, going to be the big thing. This is your set, so you've got to have a little bit of confidence in your killer there. And I would imagine, since this is your set, you probably feel pretty solid on your survivor set. So I think just the biggest thing right now is you just have to have that really good, bad, short-term memory. You know what I mean? Good, bad, short-term memory. You don't remember this last shot. You just move right into this next one, The
bad short-term memory that's gonna work out good for you. That's what you mean. We get you, and I totally agree. And I want to bring in the timeout option again, because maybe even some viewers, maybe even some players are not aware yet. There's a timeout feature in DBDLeague. You can take some extra minutes before going into the next set here, and I do think, knowing SOMA, this is why I love Russian players, right? Because I think Russian players are one step ahead when it comes to planning everything out. I don't want to say everyone else is not planning their matches out, but I always felt like that the players from the Russian scene have that extra moment of planning everything out to the very last detail, and I do have seen SOMA doing that in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do that here. However, trial number 3 here, and they are going to start on Survivor again. needs to be perfectly coordinated.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, especially because you start on the survivor side, right? You kind of need to come out because the whole goal on the survivor side is you want to minimize. You would love to take the lead on the survivor side when you come out in the first part of the set, right? But I think the biggest goal is to prioritize the you minimize the gap of the lead, right? Because more points are available on the killer side. And as we had seen there, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be seeing the same killer out here on the next one, but if you allow things to turn around and have that big gap in the start of the game, it'll actually make it very easy for OBOY to be able to carry that momentum over. So again, I think the biggest thing, you hit the fresh reset, and that's the biggest goal. And it's interesting that you bring up the timeout feature because we actually just saw it for the first time, I think, yesterday, right?
Yeah, I think so. It was used yesterday in a very, very good way. Because it does really help if you take an extra moment to plan out your game. So, Soma with a tough challenge, but we are running it back on the Plague. Scores going back to 0. The set point is gone, but you can keep yourself together, come out coordinated here, and put the pressure back onto OBOY. So, is that going to be successful or not? That's going to be the question. Trial 3 is around the corner. For those with short-term memory, it's going to be trial number 1. We're going to catch you in a short moment.
All right, let's go ahead and take another trip on back into the fog. Set number 2 here between Soma and OBOY. Soma out on the survivor side, going to be seeing YoCat out on the killer here. I'm expecting some sick gameplay as we're going to be watching the nurse here, moving up towards actually the shack side, as we do see that is where the corrupt intervention is. We also see a little bit of our corrupt purge put onto that generator there. It does look like RNG has been a little favorable to our killer here, as that 4th gen has kind of been really shifted up to the corrupt side as well.
Yeah, if he manages to zone the survivors into this area later on and secure the hook stages down here, that would be amazing, because as you mentioned, a covered up 3 gen with an additional generator here. That looks like a good match setup here, but you do need to make it work. And talking about making it work, Soma is not going to hide out the corrupt intervention successfully here, but they have taken more than 60 seconds before the first survivor is getting located. So this still being a very, very good move. We do see that Shark Pallet is not being used immediately, so the mind game's coming out here, and I do think this is what Soma needs. They need to take the resources for as long as possible. They need to get a good first chase in here, making sure that they are staying alive as long as possible. And if we do see 2 or 3 generators being completed for the first down, I think then Soma is going for the pullback, which we really need.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was kind of surprised we were doing that back and forth mind game around the window, because I really felt like right there you need to at least force down Shack Pallet. Of course, as they're starting to get sick, the more actions that you can force them to do, the quicker that they do get that infection rate there, right? So also not only that, you are going to get this Shack Pallet down and out of the way. The only tough thing here is I'm not sure if we might have lost our survivor here, which is going to be valuable time, as we have now passed that 2-minute mark. So Corrupt off of our gens. Also, plenty of time for our Adam, our Nia, and our Fang to be over here just banging out these gens. We see the Fang has one just about ready to go. The Nia not too far behind. And even the Felix here hasn't even really gotten all the way infected, is not quite yet one shot.
This is now going to be first. Ooh, locket check. Not going to find the survivor we are looking for. So this is additional time being taken here. Now going to be the survivors spreading on the next generators already. Meanwhile, our killer is now rotating towards the top side. So this is also tricky, right? Because that's leaving the setup which you really, really don't want to do. Legionnaire here on the edge map. Interesting to see him there hiding and trying to make sure that the killer is not going to locate him, but this is going to be Architects now spotting our Felix here with the Corrupt Purge. He does manage to dodge that once, but potentially not twice. So this is going to be the down over the pallet, but a very, very strong start so far from Team Soma. The next challenge, though, is going to be to get the rescue and go with the survivor back towards the top side.
Yeah, not only get the rescue, but also you've got to start breaking up this 3-gen. I mean, we see, or the 4-gen, I should say. I mean, we see that Nia does have a gen back behind main that they're working on here, but that will even more so lock them into this 4-gen scenario that we do have going on over here on the bottom side of the map. Granted, you're getting valuable points, right? You're inevitably going to need to complete that gen anyways, but it makes it even more so where YoCat has no like reason to even go across that side of the map now you can literally just sit here and vibe, use your vile purge on these gens, make it so people are going to either get sick from starting to work on the gens, as we're seeing here from the Nia, which and actually now they are broken. And then also not only that, but anybody who comes in for the save will start their process of getting sick here as well. The only question is, do we see a second stage forced?
Second stage would be a really good move, right? And now you also have another injured survivor over here, and that was a beautiful one onto this survivor here. I'm not entirely sure if there was the second stage over there, since we also have sometimes the bug where it's not going to be shown that a survivor moved into second stage. No, it's actually not going to be the case. It's going to be one stage onto Legionnaire. So Soma was just last second ready to go for the save here, but they do need to slowly increase the pressure. Interesting to see that our killer is going all the way to top mid.
Yeah, this is big. I mean, trying to create some separation. The only problem though is like, again, so here at this point, you essentially got a little bit of sickness started, or a little bit more progressed here, should I say, without having to really worry about giving out much pressure over on this side of the map. However, you'll notice Fang kind of just vibing in the back over here. Our killer's gonna want to be careful because obviously they don't want to give up this hook for free. But if they do continue to stay around this hook, they are going to at least see the first part of their 4-gen broken up.
And the difficult thing here is, right, Season 7 has that rule that survivors need to do something objective-based in at least 5 minutes. So you cannot keep it too slow here. You need to go for some cleanses, resets, generators, something like this, but you need to make sure that you do progress the game here, and this is going to force constant pressure onto the survivor team. We do see a full cleanse, and our killer does calculate. He has the time to go for the top side and loses a generator for it. So immediate punishment by Team Soma, and that's how we know them. And if they keep playing like this, there's a chance that they pull this.
Yeah, the one thing that is tough though, of the 4-gen that you did have, the generator that you completed was the one that was kind of the most on the outside of what could potentially be any other 3-gen. So you still have a pretty decent setup here, and it's going to be interesting to see what our killer does from here on out. I mean, we see at this point, you've got yourself a second hook. You've got a dry kick coming out here. Oh, no, it was actually indeed, this survivor was forced into the second stage here. That's big, because now we're going to be moving into this 3v1 scenario, and with this really tight 3-gen, could be tough. Also, while we have YoCat here still in the power, and still has a little bit of that ability to use the sniper from distance. So I don't know if our team's going to be putting much progress onto these gens.
Yeah, this is now going to be tough, right? Now you have another survivor fully broken, so these 5% of slowdown are also going to be added. But we do see some progress coming in over time. Slowly and slowly they are building it up. Going to be interesting to see if Soma decides to go for a full cleanse again, or if they are just pressuring this generator. I mean, this generator here is not bad, right? You have access to the mid part of the map. If you communicate well, you can leave it very early. We do see it here. Adam already left the area. So it's definitely still in the favor of our killer here if you place that out in a good way, but the survivor team is doing the right steps, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the survivors are definitely fighting back here, and this, I mean, this is what you love to see. This is part of what I think some people consider like the slower part of the Plague, which is why some people dislike watching the Plague, but it causes so much of the back and forth interaction here between the survivors, especially at this point, right? You've got all 3 survivors across the board are fully infected. So now they're stuck with, do we cleanse to take care of the Thanatophobia, which makes it a little bit easier to crank out this last gen, which would then in turn give more of the power here to our killer as well. And as you'll see, we've already got a couple pulls across the way. So if they were to be cleansing, they'd be cleansing closer towards this 3-gen setup. We do see, though, we have one survivor here. Legionnaire does have a generator almost to that 75% marker. So almost 20 seconds left before the what would be currently 15% slowdown. So about 24-ish seconds or so of repair work needed on that generator.
Oh, we do see, oh, this time he's too optimistic here on this pallet. We do see the rescue coming through in the distance. And this chase here is going to be really important because you do need to take the time out of this chase to potentially go back towards the bottom side with the two people that are right now at top and then get in the pressure. But I don't think our survivor Felix is going to stay alive for much longer here, and the survivors haven't rotated towards the bottom side just yet. So it is going to stay with another hook stage for our killer here. But actually they're doubling up this one on the truck that also had some pressure, and this is going to force it into endgame here. Really, really strong work by SOMA.
Yeah, really love to see it. SOMA going to be able to get not only that 5th and final gen done, but now things get interesting, right? Because you've got to be able to start attacking these doors here. Our survivors here very briefly are going to be finding out about that no way out, currently having 3 stacks. So I think right now, oh no, and now we haven't even hit these doors yet. If we happen to find our last fresh hook survivor, that would even allow for that timer on our no way out to be even longer. Taking the shot through, not going to be able to get the hit here. We do also see that save back across the way here. I think we're buying some time, but both of our doors are over on this side of the map. That's going to make things really tough.
Yeah, and this is going to be the down now. You talked about the time that needs to be waited out there with the hook stage. That's going to be even more difficult. And now we do see also that this is going to be the 4th stack coming in if he's getting that in time, right? So
wow.
Yeah, this is going to be 4 stacks. So that's an entire minute being added there, touching the door. Now they realize they're going to be so mad on allow, and there's a crop. Okay, this is going to be tough.
Yeah, this is going to be extremely tough. Both doors being over here, you still have your hook in the basement as well. Man, you talk about being so close to, I mean, even if you would have just touched the door 10 seconds sooner, you're talking about the door having, you know, a whole 4th of progression that you don't have to wait for here. It kind of changes the decision a little bit because now basically you get the free camp into the 2nd stage before you even have to worry about approaching these doors. Whereas before, maybe you could come in at the last second while you've started attacking the doors. So now we're going to be seeing that power is going to be grabbed. Both survivors have cleansed, however, so that does mean that both survivors will take 2 different hits of the corrupt purge. But man, we still have what now, 4 seconds left on our no way out. This is gonna be tough.
Yeah, this is really, really tough right here. And I mean, now you also have the door split being really difficult, right? What kind of helps you is the hill there, breaking line of sight a little bit, but that's kind of it. Feng hiding behind a tree here, waiting. So this is going to be a really, really tough one. And I do think if they split, they might go for a 1 out here, but and it's hard, right? Because SOMA needs a good performance here. They need set number 2. So whichever idea they have right now, whichever plan they're going for, it needs to work out. I do think, Q, you have your mic still muted. I do see you going wild because they're leaving the door.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Muted, homie. You missed the
Yes, I know. I was calling it. I had to sneeze and I thought I had unmuted. Yeah, that was crazy. You had the tree there to block the corrupt purge. You get the 2 out. Maybe not the results you were looking for, but still able to get plenty of points on the board here.
Yeah, this is... This was a really, really good out. Honestly, today is the day of surprises.
Yeah.
With a 4 stack no way out, corrupt pool in between the doors, these door locations I was not expecting this result. Maybe I need to stop expecting so many things beforehand, but it's a day of surprises. For me, I can't describe it differently. Every single set today has at least one upset in mid game, and early game, and end game. It doesn't matter, but there's a surprise.
Yeah, I think the big thing is I think is it's time and time again a perfect representation of like the parity within the league, right? At any time anyone can build up a little momentum, even if it's just within the course of a trial. And you talked about, I don't think even I was thinking at best maybe get a 1 out in that situation, right? But instead you get the 2 with just, I mean, by pixels, might we say, by being able to avoid the corrupt purge, but just the right plays at the right time, always having the right solution. That does result. And what we're currently looking at is OBOY at a score of 22 and SOMA 13.
Yeah, this is a really, really, I mean, a really good result that you get the outs there, because Plague is more difficult than you think. I do notice that a lot of people started the preparation for DBDLeague and looked into the and said like, oh, Plague. And I've seen a lot of messages like the expected results is 4, 5, 6 stages. That might be true if we are talking about a Survivor team having access to all resources, but keep in mind, the Survivor team is really limited here, and if you make a mistake, you do not have any resources to recover from it. And ARP is a map that also really works into Plague's favor. So getting outs on Plague ARP with this balance is actually more difficult than you might realize. So taking the 3 stages here and that very close endgame is definitely a huge success for SOMA here. And I mean, it's probably Volga playing the killer, and OBOY taking 3 stages out of the door here at minimum is not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be tough. I can't wait to see how I mean, both teams both sides under some pressure here, even with that result. So we're gonna see how both teams respond here in this next trial after a very quick break.
Welcome back, everybody, to trial number 4 between OBOY and SOMA. We are with the Plague on Azeroth's resting place here. Now OBOY on the Survivor side, and they need to take 4 stages out of the door here to guarantee the win in set number 2. And we can see the same approach as SOMA did, hiding out the corrupt intervention. 2 of them behind the main building. That could be risky in case our killer Volga is going to check there. For now, he is just keeping an eye on the generators that are corrupted here. Usually the survivors are spawning around that and then hiding behind the rocks. He doesn't find anyone, but he's slowly moving towards the main building. So if Volga doesn't find anyone here, it's going to be interesting if he does rotate down towards the active generators, or if he does go for the main building. Obi up here as well, and now we do see Daimao moving towards the truck on 10. So now they decide to cross. I do like that, because the first survivor is going to chase, so immediate rotation towards the bottom side here, while Obi is now getting pure. No, never mind. What a beautiful crouch tag here to avoid the injury. Now he's going to take the M1. That is going to be some distance as he gets the vault. And now Volga going towards the bottom side. That's a huge move by him, because potentially you can catch one of the survivor that is back rotating towards the top side and taking the pool here as well. So if you now find anyone, that would be really big.
Yeah, now this is going to be interesting here, because I do anticipate that our survivors are going to play this a little more on the stealthy side, right? I mean, you talk about wanting to wait out this power. I was also going to bring up too, because we had talked about heading into the Plague set about the different strategies. We do have the double apple add-on brought in by Volga. I think that shows wanting to play a very aggressive play style. I think you can kind of even see hints of that with the build as well, right? Bringing in things like Brutal to be able to remove those pallets relatively quick, be able to end chases faster. But instead, though, we see survivors doing a fantastic job of playing it passive. The only downside to playing it passive is it does mean that there's less objective getting done, right?
Yeah, that's always the trade-off, right? High risk, high reward. As slower you go into the match, as higher is the chance to get corrupt intervention out of the way, to get a power like now out of the way here. Really, really good job. Just back into the Vile Perch, you know, not even hitting our Lori doing a really, really good job here. 2 survivors infected so far. Not that much of a result just yet. A lot of gen pressures so far. Corrupt intervention being taken out. So I would say, looking onto OBOY's performance so far, they make a really confident... You're even confidently greeting this, Jesus.
Yeah, playing really aggressive, even doing one more time around as well. I think we might have... Ooh, you get back to the pallet here, though. You are going to get a little bit of the sickness here, though. And now at this point, we have 3 survivors, not quite fully infected, but they are slowly working their way there. We do also see Nico has a generator that has quite a bit of progress. It's now going to get slowed down by the 5%, now 10%. Thanks to that, the nanophobia soon is going to be the 15% once hitboxes hits that point. But we are still sitting at 5 gens up, though. So right now, our survivors kind of need to start. I know we've got some gens progressing, but we need to make sure we get these things done.
Now going to be interesting. Volga, where does he actually take that? He does get it with a nice mind game. So he does take a quick down here. I was like, where does he get the final location for his down? But he does beautiful play it here in 2 seconds around this truck. And now the pressure is going to be on the survivor team. They need to decide if they're sending in a rescuer and if they are going to afford a cleanse for that. They might get another generator here as they're doubling up. But Volga does check the tile over here, knowing that Mac has been here earlier. Obi is going to be downed as well. So Volga now with quick downs getting the pressure started. You just have 1 stage so far, but I do feel like that looks a bit less than the pressure that is in the trial right now.
Yeah, I think these next like 2 minutes are going to be very important, because even though you don't necessarily have the hook count where maybe you'd prefer to have, right, as far as we talk about still having 3 survivors, you know, able to just start attacking these generators. Even when you look around, I think we've got a pretty good, decent gen spread. It does look like, though, I think Volga going to be stuck in a tough situation. You have to either walk away from this hook and allow the free unhook, or you're essentially allowing your 3 gen to get broken up across the way. Oh,
this chase is also going to be crucial. This is one of these mid-game chases that could decide about victory or loss, and this is going to be Lori doing a phenomenal job here. Daimao really showing off with his skills, and now mind game once again. This time it is going to be in the favor of Team SOMA. So the hook is coming through. 3 stages so far, but we do see them constantly pressuring these generators. This one on the 70% mark already as well. So Volga really, I mean, Volga is not making any mistakes here. He's doing a good job. He's just running after this really impressive pressure from the survivor team. And there's no 3 gen either. So there's a lot more work to be done before we are going into endgame.
Yeah, this is going to be tough, because you talked about it, right? Only needing to get, what, 4 stages out? I know I say only needing 4 stages out, like that's such an easy task, but when you talk about how much objective is left here, I mean, we talked about generator number 4 already popping. We know, at least from what we had seen, that generator number 5 not being too far off here as well. And I haven't been able to completely monitor. It looked like we had at least 1 door over back behind main. Not sure if maybe we've got split side. Maybe that would allow a couple people across the way if you get this last gen slammed out. There's going to be at least the first cleanse coming in here. Going to be interesting to see what our survivors do. There it is, generator number 5 getting done. Also going to be seeing that no way out proxing. 2 stacks of the no way out means 36 seconds left before our survivors can attack those doors here. And especially because you were able to stay pat over next to that hook long enough, you do force the elimination. Now you picked up that corrupt purge. Things could be getting spicy here.
Yeah, it's one of the... You have your power, right? And that's a really, really, really risky one for the survivors. They need to be really aware of their positioning right now. They need to make sure that they're not caught off guard here. And we do need, in fact, 6 additional stages here to secure the win. So that's a lot of work to be done for our killer. Volga is almost needed to have a speed run. This is going to be Obi going down onto the floor. We do see hitboxes being on the gate on the top side. This is going to be a long distance for Volga, and that's not going to be in time. So if Nancy has already used the time for the rotation all the way towards the top side, there would be the escape, and that would actually mean that OBOY would take the win here.
That's crazy. Really good performance. I feel like again, this is going to be one of those situations because if that's the case, that's oh boy taking set 1 and 2. This is going to be another 2-0 where I don't think the 2-0 quite truly reflects just how close this matchup was.
Yeah, that's something we have quite sometimes, right? I remember we were talking about it a lot in the past. Sometimes you do have clear result, even trial results are sometimes 10, 15, 20 points away from each other, and that's just because one play didn't work out or because a team had to risk something and that didn't work out. And I do, while we are enjoying this audio back here, I do really think that this Plague match was... I mean, Volga made no mistakes. It was the Survivor team playing really efficient and being really, really on point here on the side of OBOY there, and I do think he was trying to get the pressure in as best as possible. He had good ideas. It was, if he would have gotten 1 or 2 downs a little bit earlier, things would have looked very different here.
Yeah, I feel like we often talk about how it's like on the killer really to force the survivors into mistakes, right? Because you
Yeah.
can play a great game, but if the survivors don't make any mistakes in order for you to capitalize on those mistakes, then you're talking about being able to just essentially just what we had there. You still had a very strong performance from Volga, just unfortunately wasn't going to be enough to get the job done. So big shout out to OBOY for being able to wrap things up in the 2-0. But I also think, you know, that's not, I'm sure Soma's going to have some things to take home here, but I'm sure they're still going to be able to make some noise throughout the rest of the season.
And you talk about making some noise. They have a chance to make some noise now as they're celebrating their win here on the side of OBOY. So Soma needs to make noise in the season. OBOY can make some noise in the voice chat right now as they're celebrating, and we do give them a chance to celebrate as we have an interview prepared with OBOY here as they are the winning team. So we are saying goodbye from me and Q for a few minutes, and we're going to catch you with the interview after a break.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another interview. And once again, I am joined by Hitboxes from OBOY. Say hello.
Hello.
Alright. So this was your second win of the season and your second time doing the interview. How does it feel to kind of be building what looks to be a winning streak?
Yeah, I mean, it feels nice. I kind of expected this since I don't know why, but we were feeling so confident that we're gonna win. I think we really showed it.
Yeah, I definitely think you did too. That when you were playing that nurse game, that was confidence to a T. And yeah, you guys played really well. I don't know what more to say about that. But my next question is kind of piggybacks off that last one. Did you kind of use the momentum from your win last week to kind of like just propel yourself into this match?
Yeah, like we were very hyped for it, and it's like we won last game. Come on, we can win this game as well.
All right. And I'm trying to think of more questions off the top of my head. This is the most difficult part of my day because, like, I watch all the matches and all that stuff. Now I have to think of good questions. So, I have a good one. So, right now, you are considered as one of the best nurses in the league. How does that title kind of pressure you into performing?
It definitely pressures me a lot, but I think I can get over it since sometimes I just see one of the best nurses just getting ran or like getting low stage, so that gives me a confidence boost.
All right. And I think I have one last question for you. So your match this week and last week, I believe they were both 2-0s. How does having never played a tiebreaker. How do you think that would affect your team if, in the event that you do go to a round 3?
I don't know. Like 2-0 is definitely something very hard to do, and yeah, we feel good about it.
I mean, you should feel good about it. Not dropping a set. I believe that was one of the goals Eternal set for themselves at the beginning of the season. So to see that you're also matching that goal that you didn't even make for yourself is an impressive feat, especially against a team like SOMA, who was ranked so highly coming into this season. I don't think I have any more questions for you. Do you have anything else you want to say to the stream or to me before you head out?
No.
No? All right. Well, thank you for your time, and again, congratulations on your win. And we're gonna head to a break, but when we come back, we will have another campfire chat. Dire and Q will be back to break down this match.